Have you noticed a trend lately in states like Washington, Oregon, California, of giving the native tribes, the sovereign Indian nations, more power and control over the management of the fisheries and other wildlife resources? Now, this isn't necessarily a bad thing. A lot of people would say it was a good thing. The native tribes, those sovereign Indian nations, have a fairly long history of being involved in the management of certain rivers. Take the Umpqua River, for example. That's a fantastic river that's been managed by the Umpqua tribe up there since at least the 70s, maybe even longer than that. I did several episodes with a local guide up there, Rich Underwood, who was just a fantastic person. I just love Rich. Unfortunately, he died a few years, or just this last year. But Rich was very passionate about the river and the fish and about helping the Quinault people. And you can't blame them for that. And they've really done a fantastic job on that river. Now, there's quite a few people that aren't too thrilled about all that because being an Indian-controlled river, they're not able to go there and fish. Like, I couldn't go there and just go fishing on my own. I'd have to hire a native guide. Just like Pyramid Lake, or you don't have to hire a native guide on Pyramid Lake, but when you go to Pyramid Lake up in Nevada, you have to buy a Native American-issued fishing license. So that's a tribally controlled lake. So there's quite a bit of that around. But lately there's a trend of more and more control given to the Native Americans. And some people say, well, that's fantastic. Maybe they'll do a better job with it than the states have done in the recent memory. And chances are they would, because, I mean, the states have badly mismanaged the fisheries. Well, there's no question about that. I don't even think the states would argue about that. But the other people would say, well, now wait a minute, these Indian nations, these are sovereign, independent nations, like a country within a country, with their own rules. And if you look up, just to be clear, what the government, how they describe the rights of the federally recognized sovereign nations, they say, okay, there's 574 federally recognized sovereign native nations in the United States. These tribes possess inherent sovereignty, meaning they maintain the right to govern themselves, manage their own lands, and establish their own tribal courts and police. Yeah, well, they do. And just ask the guy who just got busted up on the Chehalis, wasn't it? He was fishing the Chehalis and was given a ticket by the tribe and asked to go to their court on the reservation, and was fined $500, found guilty, fined $500. So I don't know the details about that, but the tribes have a police force, believe me. So one of the big things going on now that you hear quite a bit about is up on the Umpqua River, the whole Umpqua River drainage. The Rock Creek hatchery has been something that's been in the news quite a bit, where that control of that hatchery has been given to the tribe up there, the Cow Creek tribe. And that's going on right now, and there's a lot of issues with that, some money, fighting about money and so forth. But I found a document this morning, just looking around, reading about things. Going back to 2022, the Memorandum of Agreement between the Cow Creek tribe up there and the state of Oregon. So I just wanted to read a couple of short paragraphs that really jumped out at me to try to clarify, the whole situation here. Okay, so this is a long document. I just picked out a couple of paragraphs. I'll put a link to it below here. You can read the whole thing if you want. It is interesting reading. So, whereas the Cow Creek Band of Umpqua Tribe of Indians asserts it has an inherent sovereign interest in the harvest and regulation of harvest of natural resources within territory ceded by treaties it executed or based upon Aboriginal title. So that means they get all the resources given to them in any treaties to cede land, and Aboriginal title, they're an Indian, so they have the rights. Right? And also within traditional harvest areas used by the tribes beyond said ceded areas. So I guess that means the entire Umpqua Basin. I don't know, there's not a defined boundary there, drainage of the Umpqua River drainage, which is a large area. In addition, the tribe asserts an interest in fish and wildlife management and under its treaties, statutes, executive orders, Aboriginal rights, and other federal authority. Okay, so next paragraph. This agreement does not define the specific extent of such harvest by the Cow Creek Band of Umpqua Tribe of Indians, nor the specific amount or number of fish and wildlife resources that may be harvested by the tribe's members at any particular time. Instead, this agreement provides agreed upon standards for the tribe to exercise such harvest and to determine tribal harvest levels in cooperation with the ODFW. So, does it mean they've got no limits? It seems like they're in complete control. So hopefully, if that's the case, if I'm reading that right, they're going to manage the Umpqua River and run the hatcheries and do everything great, and we're all going to have a bunch of fish to catch. Maybe that'll happen. Hopefully. So, the main point I wanted to get across here is that we are allocating power and control to sovereign nations, meaning we're losing some of our power and control to manage, right? So, and then the question is, well, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens, or take a hard look at what's already been happening.